Greetings males and females, so let me cut things to a chase. While personally 8 types of Sculk or anything related is a fine addition to the Sculk collection, let's say people don't think it's enough, and so they start to get bored of the deep dark pretty fast. And I mean that's a possibility, but context aside, these are my ideas for Sculk concepts in Minecraft. While we are on the first idea, I do want to say that Mojang, from what I know, wants the deep dark biomes or cities to only have one mob spawn, and that one is the warden. While I do, or at least I think I understand why they don't want to add other mobs to spawn in the deep dark, but more specifically the ancient cities, as one thing to point out, the Sculk Shrieker spawned the warden when a Sculk sensor is triggered, and we know how tough it is. Though I do have an idea that, while it adds another entity, hopefully doesn't ruin the idea of spawning another warden that I'm assuming Mojang wants the player to normally trigger. Sculk Sentience is a new Sculk block that looks exactly identical to a regular Sculk. They get like the infested blocks that spawn silverfish, but additionally associated with the new mob, the Sentient, is the only way you can tell them apart unless you get very lucky and break the right block. The Sentient is a stationary entity looking like the arm of the warden that, instead of attacking the player, grabs onto a hold of any entity it catches, with the warden as an exception, until it is slain or the block has been broken. Though, when held onto by the Sentient, you cannot move any farther but to simply go around in circles, which is illegal. And again, just simply slaying it will do the trick, though it will respawn after about 30 seconds. If it does miss, however, will it slam the ground to send vibrations to other sensors or shriekers, even which give the more reason to not leave it unchecked. Similar to the bat, the Sentient won't drop anything, not even experience, and of course that's by design because it ain't warden powerful, as keep in mind, it ain't something that attacks you, it's something more to rather keep you at bay and wait for a warden to try and find and defeat you. It was really only made for that extra bit of danger and awareness if you can easily outsmart the warden and its dangers. The next idea for a Sculk expansion isn't really adding like any new block or item, but rather a tweak to an already existing feature, Urs. If you count this idea number 2.5, and I would propose Sculk tweaks. I thought giving Sculk a bit more uniqueness than just simply being a regular lore block of decoration adds more to its game design, if that makes sense. What I would add to this Sculk is it allows the warden more advantage over its targets. For instance, the Sculk would allow the warden to move faster and precisely when swimming in it, which, yes, that is what it would do to pursue entities. The other thing is Sculk would allow the warden to move upwards like if it were climbing, really just as a way to traverse the ancient city landscape, and could also be another way of searching players without performing any sort of cheesing. Now, it would still use its sonic boom attack, but only if it can't reach you, just like if you were backing up from it in battle. Next feature is with a change in the Sculk Catalyst, accompanied with a new effect. Keep this in mind, Sculk Catalysts are known to have Sculk spraying properties when a mob is defeated nearby it, which this idea would make some sense. So, what if you've been slaying entities and all of a sudden the Sculk spreads onto you? If this happens, a new effect known as Corruption would be applied, and it would be a new negative status effect. When affected, this is like the opposite of what Health Boost would do. If you have any empty hearts, the Sculk Corruption effect would infest those remaining empty hearts, converting them into Sculk Hearts. Essentially, it takes away hearts. How many times am I going to say hearts? Fortunately, Corruption only takes up small portions of your health. Sorry though, there exists amplifier levels of the Corruption effect, meaning the higher the amplifier, the more hearts it corrupts, It all depends on how much the Sculk from the Sculk catalyst has reached you. I do think a little cool Easter egg, if this counts as one, would be if you were defeated on half health while the corruption took up all of your hearts, it would say for a defeat message, player had their life consumed by Sculk corruption. Pretty spooky, if I do say so myself. I can already imagine just how difficult the How Did We Get Here challenge would be, not to mention hardcore. For this idea, this is the part where one item from the Deep Dark, the Echo Shards, I think should have a light shined upon. Having an exclusive item that's fairly abundant in chests could have a lot of potential for crafting recipes, then only be used for an item that locates less death does not really have a use case apart from being a decoration item in hardcore, a game mode where once you die, you're dead because you only have one life. So just for this, here are some crafting recipes that would shine a light on the Echo Shards. So you know how naturally made Sculk light from the Deep Dark or from a slain mob next to a Sculk catalyst you get experience when mine. Also, it's worth noting, Echo Shards seem to share the same Sculk design. So my idea is, what if there was a way you can allow both shareable and experience storage from the aid of Echo Shards? The Experience Locker is a new storage block made from the Echo Shards and those light gray gold bars the people call iron. This item could be used to store a certain amount of experience, with the ability to carry it around like shulker boxes. But if you wanted to, you can actually share with your friends on the server. I just would recommend the Griefers though. To make this not overpowered, it would only give back, I could say the very best, a quarter less of the experience you had normally put in, so it wouldn't be drastically powerful for experience farms, even though it could still be. While tagging along this section, this also adds another new block, but it's a bit different as it is for redstone. The Echoer is a new redstone item, and this is for those redstoners who do map making. Any mob of which is slain close by the Echoer will play the sound of souls and trigger a redstone signal, as can be seen on the back. However, each defeat streak you perform will strengthen the redstone power, though after some time it will slowly drop down. So this is for those redstoners who do those sections where you must defeat a certain amount of mobs, as it is much easier now. The final idea I think is one of my best concepts for this video and one of the reasons to explore the ancient cities more often than not. The idea is Vibrant Heart Sculk, and it will be the rarest of the Sculk family. Attempting to break the Vibrant Heart, it will act like the Warden's heart it has in its chest, pulsing with a brief glow, but with this it unleashes a vibration shockwave. These shockwaves will have the ability to damage you, but they are not really that strong as compared to the Warden's, but they can damage through armor like the Warden. Now, unlike regular Sculk blocks, this one would take longer to drop or break, as another mechanic the Vibrant Heart Sculk has is depending on how broken the block is, the stronger its pulls and the more shockwaves it'll unleash. So you don't want to keep mining as you might get too injured and be unalived. But at the same time, it has a very cool reward when broken, which is why mining with regeneration is more safe. There is a 100% chance the Vibrant Heart Sculk will break and it will drop its Vibrant Heart, which it would act as another safety tool in the sense as the Undying Totem, though not as overpowered. The way it functions is exactly how the Vibrant Heart Sculk behaves. When damage or lower the health, the stronger the pulse and the more shockwaves it'll create, though the item will lose durability every pulse and shockwave it unleashes. Like I said, it's a safety item, so if you are in a situation where you aren't carrying Undying Totems because for the sake of this plot of the script, the heart can slightly assist you by damaging surrounding entities, though it only works if you are holding it like how the Undying Totem works. Honorable mention, if this were to be a feature, I'd imagine this function would also apply to the Warden. The more it takes damage, the more dangerous it is, so now players wouldn't bother attacking the Warden. And those would be my ideas to expand on the Sculk. Now, I know these might be a little too much, but keep in mind it's very likely that one or few of these realistically would be added and the rest just tossed aside. Do I think they have potential? I don't really mind, as again, these are my concepts I thought I'd share and give an idea on how I would improve the ancient cities for more of that exploration and revisiting value. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this golden video. If you'd like, you can hit the like button and the subscribe button if you wish to support me. And I hope you are blessed